Let's kickstart the conversation from Kumasi, where a city guard with the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly is alleged to have been stabbed to death in a scuffle with a commercial trotro driver and his assistant. 50-year-old Thomas Amachi Yankee, known popularly as Congo Soldier, was stabbed multiple times with a knife on the neck and stomach at the KGTR First Gate lorry terminal. There's more in this report.
The father of 6 sustained injuries and later died at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital upon referral from a clinic at Adum. According to the police PRO, ASP Godwin Ahianyo, the late Congo Soldier attempted to prevent the driver from loading passengers at an unauthorized place, leading to the brawl.
According to the investigation we've gathered, or the information gathered so far, indicate that when the fight ensued between them, he stabbed the suspect in the head, and he also in turn stabbed him on the chest, killing him instantly, because when he was taken to the hospital, he was pronounced dead by the medical officer on duty. Whoever is found culpable or who is involved and is supposed to be prosecuted and put before court, why not? We'll definitely put that fellow before court. We'll ensure that justice is served.
The brawl between the deceased and the driver, 25-year-old Kingsley Amoa, happened Saturday afternoon. The public relations officer of KMA, Afia Kunedu Abuaje, says the assembly received the unfortunate news from the unit head of the city guard.
That after asking him to move, when he wasn't moving, he sat in the car, which they normally do that thing a lot. He sat in the car, and then when the city guard sat in the car, the driver then parked well, so he got down from the car, and then it's amounted to some confrontations, and some people came to the middle of it, and then each one went his way. So he went then to stand at the KGTR gates, phase 1, the project, the gates, and for no apparent reason, and some people heard him saying, "Wekumiu." So his hands were here and then on his chest, the left part. So the stabbing was on the neck and then his chest area.
Some eyewitnesses spoke to Love FM News.
The fight between the driver and the KMA city guard was resolved until the official started harassing the driver. The city guard attacked the driver, and the driver also pulled out a knife to fight back.
The driver is currently in police custody after he was treated and discharged for head injury under police guard. His mate was also arrested to assist police investigations. Reporting for JoyNews, Obidishie Ofori Amanfo.
Very sad incident, but let's go on the phone lines now and interact with ASP Godwin Ahianyo, the Ashanti Regional Police PRO. Many thanks for your time, ASP Ahianyo. Now, the driver is in your custody to be processed for court. How far has this process gone so far?
Thank you for your question. Good morning to you and good morning to your listeners. As you indicated earlier, we are preparing the suspect for court today. As you know, when incidents of this nature happen, it is the duty by the criminal justice system. It is the Attorney General that prefers charges. But provisionally, when I spoke with the district commander,
right,
saying life has been lost, it's going to be a charge of murder that is provisional. So they will charge him, they go to court and pray for the court to remand him into custody. Then, after gathering all the necessary evidence and holding the docket, to be sent to the AG's office for an advice on the case. So currently, that is what they are doing.
Right. So do I gather correctly that the charge is murder, especially considering that it is alleged that the city guard attacked him first, and of course we had him go to hospital for treatment, and following that he also attacked. In other words, self-defense in this instance. I mean, what can you tell us about that?
It is an investigation that will establish that we are gathering all the evidences. We've spoken with some eyewitnesses. We've spoken with a colleague who were with him at the time of the incident. They've also given a statement. So, as part of our investigation, whether it's self-defense, whether he did it provocatively, or whether he went and came back to stab, all these the bits and pieces we put together. So let us leave with the investigators. I'm sure that when they're done with the investigation, they go to justice, as indicated in your earlier report.
So from what we gather, the conductor, the mate, is he just a witness, or have any charges been
with the mate
preferred against him?
With the mate, he's on bail currently, because when I spoke with the district crime officer, we've not been able to connect him to the crime, whether abetment or whether he was there, whether it would be used as prosecuting witness, and all that. It is the investigation that was established. So for now, he is on police inquiry bail. We will be reporting to the district command to assist police in our investigation. So for now, he is on bail.
What more specifically can you tell us about the body of the deceased city guard? Where has it been deposited, and what more can you reveal?
It's currently at the Confanoche Teaching Hospital morgue.
Right.
Postmortem will be conducted on the body. Then afterwards, they will release the body to the family for burial. But at the moment, we are yet to conduct the postmortem for the pathologist to give us the extent or what actually caused the death of the city guard.
Let me take you back briefly. You do say that, of course, investigations are ongoing, but what have you established as of now to be the cause of the confrontation between the three, or among the three?
Yes, from what we've gathered so far, we know the driver also visited the clinic where the deceased was earlier taken to. That is the Ariam clinic at the KJT bus terminal, before the police got him arrested. And when they arrested him, they sent him also to the Confanoche Teaching Hospital for medical treatment. So, yes, he also have head injury. We are yet to know what actually caused that head injury. Some are alleging that he had stab wounds from the deceased. He's also alleging he was stabbed by the deceased. The deceased colleague also saying no, that wasn't what actually happened. So definitely we'll take statement from eyewitnesses and then analyze.
Because we've heard from an eyewitness live on television who also suggests that the initial attack was by the city guard. But I get it, investigations are ongoing. But my question specifically was, so just to clarify, you mean this driver paid a visit was trying to visit the affected officer at the hospital? Is that what you're saying?
No, he also went to the hospital that the deceased was taken to. When he was alive, he was taken to Ariam clinic for treatment. So that is the very clinic he also went to report himself to the hospital that he has been stabbed by the victim, now deceased. So when he was there, that was when the police got wind that he was in there, then got him arrested. So when we arrested him, the injury was severe, so we had to take him to Confanoche under police escort and guard. So after treatment, he was discharged and we brought him and detained him.
Right. So I was asking initially, what led to the confrontation among the three? Have you been able to get to the facts of that?
That hasn't come to my attention, but I'm sure the investigators will establish what brought about the confrontation. Definitely that will come to the table of them.
So what can we expect? Another bit about our not judicial process, but investigative process is that oftentimes it is very slow, and some people, of course, you know what we say, justice
that is a criminal justice system. Definitely investigations will be slow, but at the end of the day, justice will be served. So I'm just assuring the general public that the family of the deceased, the colleague at the KMA, that at all costs, police will gather the necessary evidence, put our the evidence together, facts, and then we'll push it to the AG's office for advice. So when the indictment comes, we'll continue with the prosecution. I'm sure the prosecution will be strong enough, or the evidence will be strong enough to get a suspect. I'm not going to say what will be the outcome of the court proceeding, but I am saying that justice will be served at the end of the day. But I'm just assuring the public and the family that we are going to do our professional work. And then when we are done,
right.
Whoever is listening to us this morning will know that yes, police did their professional job as part of our investigation.
Right. Justice will not be delayed. ASP Ahianyo, thank you for engaging us this morning.
I'm also grateful.
All right. Let's take a look at our second story then. Are you spending more on food recently? Well, if your answer is yes, then you are not alone. Drivers plying their trade at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle interchange right here in Accra are unhappy that their favorite kenke and ampesi have become more expensive because of the rising fuel prices. Here are the details in today's Living Standard series.
The whole media by force no me fasting. Yes, I'm watching me.
Oh, 2 cedi. 5 near way answer. Yes, I'm Baba or Dabium.
Obaka go to bro na e turn 4 million. Say obi so be a bag back 8 million.
A hungry man is an angry man. Olu is hungry and angry because the ball of kenke he bought for lunch has shrunk. His favorite kenke joint has increased prices. Olu paid 3 cedis for a reduced-sized kenke and 7 cedis for fish. Olu says in 2021 he used to spend less than 10 cedis on kenke and fish.
And I'm 6 room, 8 room, 7 room.
I bought kenke for 3 cedis. The fish is from 6 to 10 cedis. I have to fast to manage the money I have. We are really feeling the pinch in this economy.
What I say, young one to see you rough. Young one to see you. What do you for no
The 68-year-old driver is still grappling with increased fuel prices and how to take care of his family with the ever-increasing cost of living. He fasts for several hours of the day, not because of a religious obligation, but because food prices have risen.
When I buy 50 cedis worth of fuel, isn't sufficient. All the political parties and the government, they are not concerned about us.
3 others, Fred, Abraham and Zizi, dropped by to have a quick lunch before getting back to work. They are equally not amused about the increase in prices, which has thrown their budget out of the window.
Oh, 2 cedi. 5 near way answer. Yes, I'm Baba.
1 kenke is 2 cedis. We bought 5, but it won't be enough. Initially, when it was 1 cedi, we bought 3 and some fish, but now we have to economize. It's really hard.
2 cedi. Madam, easy. And I'm no cry, and I'm no cry, and I'm 5 cedis. And I'm 5 cedis.
Kenke is arguably one of the cheapest meals to buy on the streets of Accra. But sellers say prices are up, mainly due to high maize prices and transport fares.
We buy our corn from Techimo. A bag now costs 800 cedis per bag. We have to pay for transportation, pay for laborers, pay for utilities, and then pay for workers.
And to San Yamina was a bro back into some 4 million. Name the year you ma meti gas room, meti a habine room, near a yen metrianica. You should have been away to so moody do he. Obi obedi say you should insure nearly. A bet you insure car. Nimpa to change chance a betranica. And in a one a better.
Ike says he now eats once a day because he has to support his girlfriend who depends on him for food. he spent 11 cedis on his food for the day.
8 cedis. The kenke and okra stew cost 11 cedis. I cannot spend more money because my girlfriend will also come for a share.
Ampesi is an alternative. Clothes dealer Kojo has a plate of boiled yam and contemporary stew. Fish is a luxury.
Everything has gone up. Contemporary was 1 cedi, but now it's 1 cedi 50 pesos. Tomorrow it will increase again. Chicken is now selling above 5 cedis.
Maximum shape now, 2 cedis, about 5 6 cedis.
The same goes for Kwiku.
I don't boy, the one discounts you one more. First, I'm a 2 cedi kwana. Yeah, maybe woman, frame, to baby 15, my ton of my can buy. Barren, 3 cedi, 4 cedi kwana. Still now, baby, and also. Get to be crying, I'm going 2 cedi. Be Yama cry and shut down Subia, get to be better than 2 cedi there.
Mary says the decision to increase prices is to ensure her business survives.
Contemporary is very expensive now. 60 cedis is not enough. We have to add cabbage. Yams have also become dear.
20 cedis, 35, 40 Ghana.
Drivers at the Kenke and Ampesi joint are hoping for some respite in food prices. But until then, they'll have to continue to budget more for lunch.
Now, from our Living Standards series, we talk about the Chief Justice, Kwesi Ednei-Yeboah, who has directed trial court judges to strictly adhere to the age-long tradition of calling the cases of senior lawyers first. Justice Ednei-Yeboah explains his office has noted with concern the practice where this tradition is not being adhered to. He insists obeying such a tradition affords junior lawyers the opportunity of learning from their seniors. This is contained in a circular he issued. Let's get the full details of that. And as you can see on your screens, to all trial court judges observing age-old traditions of the bar and calling cases in court. Now, the legal profession, as we know it, is steeped in traditions and ceremonies. One of the traditions observed is the practice of calling cases of persons whose names are on the roll of lawyers in order of seniority of enrollment, notwithstanding the notion of equality at the bar. This practice, among other benefits, affords the young lawyer the opportunity of learning from seniors to whom they would not ordinarily be exposed to, thus enriching the whole legal training experience beyond what is taught in chambers and other places of work. It goes on. It has recently been drawn to my attention that some trial court judges are not observing this practice in court. While the right to call a case out of turn is not absolute and is exercisable subject to the convenience of the court, for the reasons mentioned above, I would request all trial court judges to strictly adhere to this age-old tradition and resort to inviting applications from seniors first. I hope I can count on your cooperation. And that is the statement from the Chief Justice Ednei-Yeboah. Well, let's ask some questions. What does the Ghana Bar Association make of the directive? Xavier Kuje speaks for the association. He spoke with my colleague Ernest Menu on Prime News, JoyNews Prime, last night.
The terminology seniors used in the circular does not mean that senior lawyers, as we know, 10 years and above. What it means is that if you are a lawyer and then you are 1 year at the bar and I am 2 years at the bar, my case should be called before yours. Okay. In any case, the Chief Justice does not give a directive. That is an age-old tradition and ceremony that goes with practice in Ghana.
But if that is not being adhered to, is that not, inherent? Does that not send a signal of its irrelevance in our time?
Not at all. Not at all, because every good judge will tell you that a good bench makes a good judge. What do I mean by this? You cannot just read authorities in the books. You must go and apply them. And the understanding you have upon reading might be different when you get to court. And let us all get this. To be able to even know the authorities to read, sometimes you may not know all. You listen to others in courts, and when they apply it and mention it, you write it down and come back and read.
But you don't learn all of that in court. I believe that judges prepare before they go to court. They prepare their briefs. And as I know it, I may be wrong, but many junior lawyers work with senior lawyers on cases. And they must have been adequately prepared. Of course, there may be things that will come up in the news, in the courtroom, forgive me, in the courtroom. But you necessarily don't have to queue in order to learn those, do you?
Yes, I have always maintained that once you consciously elected to become a lawyer, you have elected to be a student for the rest of your life, even if possible in the next world, because the learning continues. Decided cases may not be known to you every time, unless somebody signs them. Then you also go and read, and the cases are applications of the statute laws. So you cannot just sit in your office and say that I have a good senior and that is the end, because you may not have the opportunity to meet other lawyers. The only way you meet them is when you listen to them in court. If I want to know about Richard Branson, for instance, I may not be able to meet him. But if I read whatever he writes, I know about Richard Branson.
But there will be several avenues for you to learn from some of these senior lawyers, as the Chief Justice would want juniors to learn from you. The issue is about why your case should be put on hold, necessarily because there is someone who is ahead of you, who is on the roll, who was listed on the roll before you, and not on the merit of the case that you are bringing, or even as the judge deems fit.
Ernest, what we just said, the Chief Justice has power to direct that a particular case, irrespective of the standing of the lawyer at the bar in terms of seniority, should be heard. So it is not as if that circular is saying that from now onwards, never hear any case unless a senior's case is called. It has always been the tradition, and it's been very good. Some of us have benefited from it. There is no practicing lawyer who is very good at practice that will say that what the Chief Justice has said does not add to standards. We are all complaining, or people at least have complained that standards are falling. It is all because traditions and ceremonies that are known to go with legal practice in this country are not being followed. So for me, I'm all for it. The Chief Justice hasn't done anything wrong.
Well, moving away from that, Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia is expecting the National Youth Volunteerism Program to contribute significantly to the country's GDP and ultimately enhance national development. He believes the community-based initiative would afford the youth the opportunity for skills development and promote an active citizenry for national development. There is more in this report.
Speaking at the launch of the National Youth Volunteering Program in Kumasi, Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia acknowledged the formal employment sector cannot solely drive national development, as only a fraction of the youth find themselves in the sector. He therefore believes with the establishment of the volunteer program, Ghana could record a significant percentage of GDP, as proven by data in other countries.
We have to recognize that it's not only through formal employment that we can get the things that we need done. And this is where the spirit of volunteerism comes in. And the data, the estimates that has been made in many countries where you have very active volunteerism taking place, that volunteerism can contribute as much as 2.4% of a country's GDP. That is huge. That is huge. So I think that it is very, very important for us as a country to implement this National Youth Volunteer Program.
The National Youth Volunteering Program aims at empowering above 100,000 Ghanaian youth over the next 5 years of its implementation. The community-based initiative is in line with the government's agenda of achieving the sustainable development goals for local and national transformation. A representative of the Nana Ade Jamra I enjoined the government to implement employment strategies that would ignite a sense of patriotism among the youth.
If we indeed succeed in establishing a new set of principles or guidelines to promote volunteerism and make it attractive, the entire nation stands to benefit. This launch should mark a reawakening of the sense of patriotism in our youth. Distinguished guests, the issue of youth unemployment is well known to us all, so I would like to use this occasion to urge our youth to actively partake in this program, as volunteerism can be a viable option to battle unemployment.
The volunteerism program, which is being implemented by the National Youth Authority, is under the theme Mobilizing Youthful Hearts for Volunteer Services in National Development. Pius Enam Hajide is the Chief Executive Officer.
Today, we begin the process of mobilizing youthful hearts for volunteer service in national development. We have embarked on this process because we believe that lodged deep in the heart of the Ghanaian youth is a desire to see this country prosper and a zest to partake in the action which will bring about that prosperity.
For JoyNews, Emmanuel Bright Kweku report.
Let's turn our attention to health now, and the Enidaso Parkinson Disease Foundation. Ghana wants government to put Parkinson's disease medications on the National Health Insurance Scheme. Director of the foundation, Dr. Vida Obese, believes it will be a relief for the elderly who are already burdened with other diseases. She was speaking at a forum as part of activities to mark World Parkinson's Day.
Dr. Obese observes Ghana's growing aging population requires attention to diseases such as Parkinson's disease. The foundation also launched the book Understanding Parkinson's Disease, an introductory guide by Parkinson's Africa and IPDGC Africa. The move is part of the foundation's health literacy drive. Dr. Obese appeals for funding for the initiative.
Ghana is now an aging population. Our demographic is moving towards the aging population. So we are seeing a lot of neurodegenerative diseases such as Parkinson's disease. And so we need to understand diseases such as Parkinson's disease, and we need to ensure that their medications such as levodopa is put on the National Health Insurance Scheme, because the population of patients who have this disease are above 60s. And these patients are already saddled with hypertension, diabetes, and other diseases. And for them to add on their medication for Parkinson's disease is very difficult for them. So as a foundation, we are advocating that their medication be put on a National Health Insurance Scheme. And stakeholders pay attention to these patients and ensure that our health literacy drive, such as this booklet and others in the community, are funded so that more.
Though he underscored the importance of spiritual intervention, Anglican Bishop of Kumasi, Right Reverend Oscar Christian Amwa, appealed to prayer camps to allow members to seek medical attention as well.
In fact, even World Health Organization now understand that when you're talking of health, the spiritual part is also there. You see, so I will talk about those in prayer camps who would camp patients without allowing them to go for medication or for treatment at the hospitals. That is very dangerous. So even when they are there, supposedly, they can also be seeking support at the hospital so that together their health will be restored or well managed.
April 11 every year is designated as World Parkinson's Day. The theme for this year's celebration is Parkinson's is. Professor Fred Stephen Safo is a neurologist at the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital.
This year, the emphasis is on creating more awareness about Parkinson's disease. So if somebody in a community has Parkinson's disease, for instance, how will the person know that this is Parkinson's disease? Number one, if you realize that the way you walk has become a bit slow. Number two, if you feel that your muscles have become a bit stiff or rigid. If you see that the hands begin to shake at rest. These are some of the things that you should look out for and then come to the hospital.
Now, a non-governmental organization, Center of Awareness Global Peace Mission, says it has allocated over $2 million towards a global peace campaign. Speaking at a COAS fourth public lecture in Cape Coast, President of COA GPM, Professor Samuel Atodankan, explained how the funds and the 5-year strategic plan is intended to promote world peace.
To be the public lecture, the fourth public lecture, and also to talk about what we have put in place for the 5 years. After this, I think we will say this. After the Second World War, in 1945, the United Nations Organization was formed to ensure that there's peace in this world. Unfortunately, peace has eluded mankind. Many killing of innocent souls, instigating conflicts and wars in some countries for some so-called superpowers to sell arms and ammunition. The so-called superpower nations give license to classified companies to produce ammunition, tax the companies who produce ammunition, support them to get bank loans to manufacture ammunition, knowing very well that those ammunitions are not for human consumption, but for destruction. How can these companies recoup their investment? The only way out is to create conflict and wars and dump those ammunitions on credit to destroy lives and properties. This creates the displacement of innocent souls, political unrest, poverty and economic instability, the effect of which of these inhuman behaviors breed terrorism, armed robbery, prostitution, and all sorts of social vices. Now, let us learn here. Nana Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, the latest Global Peace Index reports released recently finds that 2015, I just want to go back to 2015 because I'm here to compare what we have now. Finds that 2015 was a bad year for international peace and security. It recorded a further deterioration in global peace based on historic trend. 2015 witnessed the highest global battle deaths for 25 years, persistently high levels of terrorism, and highest number of refugees and displaced people since World War II. The report finds that the economic impact of violence to the global economy was 13.6 trillion in 2015 in terms of the PPP, purchasing power parity. This is equivalent to $5 per day for every person living on this planet, or 11 times the size of global foreign direct investment. The $13.6 trillion of expenditure and losses represent 30% of the world GDP. To break this figure down, it is equivalent to $1,876. That's 13.976 Ghana cedis per a day for every person living on this earth. For every person on this planet. This is the money the world wasted 2015 alone. Well, this 13.6 trillion can alleviate poverty in Africa. This is unacceptable. So we see what we do to ourselves. We bring the global economy. Now we have started facing the economic the crunches. Yes. There are 7 terrorists whose inhuman activities have displaced many innocent souls, some of which are killed in cold blood, some are slaughtered like animals, forgetting that all human beings were equally created by God, but differently classified in a way of living their lives, making discrimination once again totally unnecessary. Each and everyone is entitled to his or her own opinion If you do not believe in what one believes in, it does not make him or her your enemy.
And that is the agenda to promote global peace. We take a break now and return with business.
Hello there, good morning. Let's do some business news now. My name is Beverly Broom. The Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications fear the implementation of the electronic transaction levy could be faced with some challenges. According to its chief executive, Dr. Kenneth Ashibe, the chamber will continue to engage government to help plug any loopholes as the Ghana Revenue Authority readies itself to commence collection of the new tax on the 1st of May.
Levy was announced in Parliament. You realize that we had mentioned the fact that there had been no engagement. And so post that, there's been a lot of engagement that have happened. We had issued a paper to the ministry, to Parliament, and we definitely, we've not lost sight of the fact that there could be unintended consequences. So our whole posture is, what do we do to ensure that we can mitigate those unintended consequences? You have the examples of what happened in countries like Uganda, Tanzania, in other places where this kind of taxation has been passed, and we know how the impact has been. So government has taken some of the suggestions, recommendations we have made. Not all of them have been taken.
What were some of the recommendations? So, well,
definitely the reduction in the rate was some of them. The issues of merchants. Merchant payments was also one of them. We thought that merchant payments were in the nascent stages, and this was not the time to also be applying the levies on that, and government could rather use that to raking a lot more revenues. That was taken. We also, some of the issues that we raised were the issues of the cap. The industry itself operates on the cap. So once you're sending money to somebody beyond 1,000 cedis for MTN and Airtel Tigo money, who charge, the charge is fixed at 10 cedis. And so one of the recommendations we have been pushing to government was to also put a cap on the levy so far as that is concerned. We noticed in the final bill that was passed into law that there's no cap for mobile money, but we've seen that there's a cap.
Some research scientists are calling for the commercialization of genetically modified organism as it could contribute $31 million to the economy. Their call is based on the changing climatic conditions, overpopulation amongst others, which has resulted in the destruction of farmlands. Here's more.
The National Biosafety Authority was set up after Parliament passed the Biosafety Act, Act 831, in 2011. So far, 2 crops have been developed using biotechnology. They are nitrogen and water use efficient rice and the genetically modified cowpea. However, neither of these crops are commercialized yet, though they have gone through various stages of evaluation and field trials. Research scientists believe it is appropriate that the nation facilitates the processes for the acceptance of GM-related technology to enhance food security. Dr. Seth Mantiao is Agricultural Information Officer at CSIR.
There's a need for us to create a lot of awareness about how we can use biotechnology to promote agriculture. I mean, in the light of growing population, in the face of climate change, emergence of pests and diseases, there's a need for us to use more sustainable means of addressing these challenges.
Only 4 out of 47 countries in Africa have so far made it legal to plant any GMO crops. They are South Africa, Burkina Faso, Sudan, and Nigeria. A Ghanaian delegation recently visited Nigeria to compare notes as Nigeria has now commercialized PBR cowpea. Here is Director General of Nigeria's National Biosafety Management Agency, Dr. Rufus Ibeba.
Africa requires science and technology to drive its economy. The drivers of change Modern change are science and technology. If you think it's culture and religion will drive the economy, the people may not even go to heaven. Risk assessment done on this cowpea follow the best international risk assessment procedures.
So what is the weight to commercialize GMO crops, as many countries are now thinking about being food sufficient?
That'll be all for business. For more news, kindly log on to myjoyonline.com. Up next is sports.
Time now for sports. Let's get into it with Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. Now, so the Hearts people, them say waiting. If we penalty now, we score, we finish. What be the more hala?
Okay, so what I know of Pidgin English is that it's
are you going to?
It's a stop or abridged language. When the other person cannot understand what you're trying to say. So I don't know why you're speaking Pidgin English to me, but what I can best say is that Hatapuk say the penalty that was awarded Asante Kotoko in the Super Clash.
Right.
When you're done laughing, you pay attention.
I'm paying attention to you.
The penalty that was awarded Asante Kotoko in the Super Clash was a controversial one. They felt that it determined the outcome of the game against Kotoko. They felt this is a game they should not have lost.
Right.
So they want the Ghana Football Association to sanction the referee.
After what? 15 minutes?
Yeah, within 15 minutes into this game.
And they had what? An extra 75 minutes plus.
Play.
And it was the determiner.
So the bigger question is, did they score and the referee disallowed?
In fact, we had opportunities to have buried the game, scored even more goals.
You and who are the we?
Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Tobia Kumasi Asante
Kotoko had an opportunity to...
I fault the players. They should have scored more, and then this argument would not have had any legs.
Did they play ball?
I played ball before.
Before?
Right now, you two, you talk
the
Pidgin song.
Because we dare to be on the same page.
But let's look at it. So this petition that they are putting forward, we've had analysts, experts in the field say that it was indeed a penalty.
It was the key thing that a match review panel of the FA would be doing is to ask the question: was there contact? Did the penalty actually dictate the outcome of the game before they can take any further sanction? I'm not sure anything would happen to the referee. This is just a petition that will be thrown out.
You feel it will be thrown out?
I feel it will be thrown out. I'm not sure anything will happen in this.
But does it have merit? I mean, some people say it is a soft penalty, but a penalty nonetheless. I mean, a penalty is a penalty.
We have a hard penalty. I had this question yesterday.
I mean, there are instances where you can see that maybe the player has the ball, pushes the ball, the defender comes in, I guess that is what people usually want to see to be convinced that it's a
question again. Must you whack me in the 18-yard before it is determined as a penalty? For instance, Fabio Gama was going in the box. Nuruddin comes to put his leg across. What this means is that if Fabio Gama, look at the incident, if Fabio Gama tries going just in front again, there's a possibility that Nuruddin will bring him down. So he decided, as a smart player, let me come back. In attempt to come back, he had the hand of Nuruddin around him. So if he had the hand of Nuruddin around him and the referee decided you impeded the movement of the player and awarded a penalty.
And it's as simple as that. Once you are impeding the player's movement and if the player is in possession of the ball,
the referee decided it's a penalty. So if the referee says I cannot understand why House of Focus is doing this. They've had so many decisions that have gone in their favor. I saw a penalty decision that went in their favor when the ball clearly hit the chest of a player against Elmina Sharks. I saw them score what many have said was an offside goal. I saw them score what many said was a diving penalty awarded to Patrick Razak in this Ghana Premier League. So when they say that they're filing a protest against this referee because a penalty went against them, I don't understand the kind of decision.
But to be fair, I mean, other teams, even in the English Premiership, sometimes they have decisions go their way, but when it doesn't go their way, they demonstrate their angst. So to be fair, the point to be looked at
but
is...
when you want the referee sanctioned, are we saying that the other clubs that the decisions went against them should also file petitions to have those referees?
So they could have decided to do that. They decided not to. But the point to be made, does this have any merit? From where you sit, there is no merit.
I'm not sure there's any merit to this.
Right.
As simple as that.
So in the end, it will amount to nothing?
In the end, it will amount to nothing. They will throw it out.
Oh, so they are pouring water on stone right now?
Maybe they are pouring water inside a basket.
All right. We'll leave it there.
Thanks for having me. If you look at me, I'll thank you.
And that is our take on the Ghana Premier League. Of course, a gap of 16 points opened between my team, Krobia, and I'm unrepentant, Krobia Kumasi Asante Kotoko, and Accra Hearts of Oak, the Phobians, who are not exactly...
They say the title race is not over yet, so stop jubilating.
Samuel Budu, I've heard him. I've also heard Dr. Nyaho Tamaklu. But, okay, I'll leave it to time. Anyway, that's how we wrap sports this morning on Joy News Desk. I look forward to our next major bulletin at noon. My name is Benjamin Akaku. Thank you for watching.